Sometimes we need to take a break. Oftentimes we need to have time for ourselves and as well heal from leftover and residues, what have you, of past experiences and past traumas. And today, I believe we are all well. I'm really happy to come your way again. Tonight on the show, we have Miss Gifty Okyere. She is an educational psychologist, an educator, and occupational therapist with 14 years of experience in the education field. She holds a diploma in psychology and foundations in education. Here's a quick one. I need to reposition myself. Unsure why the network is a bit shaky this evening. So I start again. Tonight on the show, we are going to be having, I guess we are connected now. So a very good evening once again. It's great to come your way tonight also. And I believe we are all doing well. Tonight we'll be having Miss Gifty Okyere, who will be taking us through understanding autism. She is an educational psychologist, an educator, and occupational therapist with 14 years of experience in the education field. She holds a diploma in psychology and foundations of education, a degree in educational psychology, and she's currently pursuing her master's in guidance and counseling in education at UCC. She is a certified applied behavior analyst, Jolly Phonics, and DIR floor time. She specializes in supporting children with autism and other developmental needs. She runs Adris Edu Experts, a home tuition business. Oh, gee. Glad we are back again. I'm sorry tonight, the internet is a bit interruptive. I'm going to have to start the introduction again. Once again, welcome and thank you for your patience with all this back and forth. So, like I was saying, we are having Miss Gifty Okyere, who is she specialized in supporting children with autism and other developmental needs. She runs Edu Aspects, a home tuition business focused on personalized learning and provides occupational therapy services tailored to children's developmental goals. As an educator, she is dedicated to fostering inclusive and engaging learning environment. Her extensive experience and diverse skills allow her to create a significant impact in the lives of children and families. Once again, thank you very much for your patience and sincere apologies for the back and forth with the networks from my end here. I go by the name Ama Nshoma Labi. Just call me Labi or Ama Labi. And I introduce to you our resource person for tonight's session, which is Miss Gifty Okyere. Please proceed with your presentation. I'll be showing your slides very soon.
Good evening, everybody.
Yeah, we'll radio about you.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening. Good evening.
Okay, so I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Fine.
Okay, thanks for having me. I'm actually looking forward to a very interactive meeting. Okay, so we won't waste much time. We're going to start. Today we are talking about focusing on how we're going to understand autism as it's in the world, and people have diverse understanding on it.
Play by USB drive. FM mode. Bluetooth mode.
So first, we're going to focus on. We're going to look at some outlines which is going to help us help enlighten us. So first, we're going to talk about what autism is. some key features. We're going to look at some causes and risk factors. We look at some myths and facts, and also why it's so important for early intervention. Did somebody want to talk, please? Okay, I'll proceed. Before I move on to autism, the topic autism, we first look at developmental disorders, because it's also a developmental disorder. When we say developmental disorders, they affect how a child grows, learns, and behaves. Child grows, learns, and behaves. There are so many kinds of developmental disorders. We can have the neuro, when you classify it, you can have the neurological ones, which is it affects the brain. The brain. So some can be the ADHD. We can have some of the learning disabilities like dyslexia and then the dyscalculia. We can have developmental disorders under genetics, where you can have the Down syndrome, amongst others. Yes. So when you take autism, it's also a developmental disorder, but then a neurological one. When I say a neurological one, it's basically about the brain and its function. The brain and its function. So it affects persons' communication and how they interact with others and their behavior as well. Yes. Shall we move on? Yes, please. Okay. I'm moving on. Scientists all would say that it's autism is say age. It focuses on a wide range of challenges and then levels of abilities. The spectrum makes us understand that in every person it's different. You can't have two people exhibiting the same functioning. They have high levels of intelligence, and then we have others that would not. Yes. So that explains the spectrum. So then we are going to look at some of the early signs. Early signs of autism. When does it start? How do you get these signs that I'm seeing are signs of autism? Okay. So it starts as early infancy up to 3 years. At 3, that's when it really manifests for you to see. But then as the child is very little, there are little signs that let you know that these are unusual. So we can have your child not crossing milestones. Let's say your child is up to 2 and is not talking. It's quite unusual, so you have to pay attention. Yes, we can say they are red flags. A child who is 1 or 2 years is not able to stand on their 2 feet. We can also have a child hit a milestone. This age is supposed to be able to lay back roll, but some children get so interested in particular kinds of food, and then even at a particular temperature, if you don't get it, that means they are not eating. That's quite unusual as well. Sleeping patterns. Some do not sleep in the midnight. Aside the first 3 months where a new baby is born, which is quite normal for them to adjust to the environment. After that, it's expected that they settle in and then enjoy their midnight sleep. But then you see that even in the midnight, they are not sleeping. They cry and cry. Yes. So that's also quite unusual. And then You have to pay attention to it. There are others. You can have difficulties with changing routines. That is when it's really manifested. Can have the child having difficulties when you change from one routine to the other. We experience that in the classroom a lot. And then they have poor eye contact. They can't look you in the eye for help. It's expected that when communicating with somebody, they look you in the eye, not for a long time, but at least there should be a contact. We can talk about delayed speech. Delayed speech. I had one parent ask me that, but then we have naturally kids who would delay in speech. So what's the difference? How do I know that this is a delayed speech and this is autism? So when a child is having a delayed speech, they have language, but then just little of it. And with help and with time, you see that they get more and then they overcome it. But with autism, it's not there. It's not there. And then they tend to repeat whatever that you say. What is your name? The child will also repeat the same thing. What is your name? A child who has autism and compared to the one with the delayed speech will have a connection. They will have social skills. Child with autism would not have that social skills. Yes. We go down, they can't bear it. Yes. Thank you, Amma. And as they grow, they normally find it very difficult to make friends because in autism, one of their signs is that they lack the social skills. So they find it very difficult to make friends. But then with time and help, they're able to overcome that as well. They lack the awareness of danger. They don't have sense of danger at all. So unless they are guided, if there's a hot object, their brain is not able to register to them that, oh, this is hot, don't touch it. Yes, and then we can have some tiptoeing, some will do hand flapping, kind of spinning and rocking. Yes, those are some of the signs that could tell you that this child or my child is autistic. Can we move on, or you can? Are there any questions? Hello, family.
Oh,
Hi.
please, I talked in the school and a boy who
Okay.
has some of these features also cannot hold.
Okay.
He cannot hold
Hold.
the crayon. So I
Yes.
began
Okay.
giving him pegs and the rest. I don't know whether it's truly a sign.
Depends there you observe.
Most of what you have said, like when you ask, Ata, what is your
Okay.
name? He will repeat, Ata, what is your name? But later on, whatever that I teach in the class, he will be at a corner. He doesn't like mingling with
the others.
the rest. And then he will be saying exactly what we were doing
Yes.
on his own after the lesson and everything. But during the lesson, he doesn't
He's not
partake.
paying attention. Yes. So
He's not paying attention.
okay, sorry. Are you done, please?
Yes, please.
Okay. So remember I made mention of a spectrum.
Yeah.
Yes. So when the spectrum has to do with a wide range of challenges, and then they also have abilities as well. So their challenges are what I made mention of, the not getting eye contact and all. So what they bring, but then they have abilities as well.
Yeah.
You might think the child is not paying attention in the class. They are. They really are. Yeah. But then I would advise that if they've not sought for help, they should take him for assessment to really make sure this is so. So you can
Okay.
give him the proper help to overcome.
All right. Thank you.
Welcome. Any other questions, please, before I move on?
Please, Mr. Emmanuel Martin.
Hello, madam.
Hi.
Please, I want to find out whether these challenges that they face at a point in time, it fades out, or does it stay with them throughout?
It's a lifelong disorder. I would actually talk about it's a lifelong disorder, but then that's why we propagate for the early intervention so that you can give them the necessary help to live life with everybody else.
Okay.
Do you get it?
Yes, please.
Yes. They just need a different way to be taught.
Okay.
Yes. They might not use the way that everybody goes, but then a different way for them to also learn. And if you're able to figure it out,
Okay.
they really come out the best.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Welcome. Welcome. Are there any other, please?
Yeah. Good
Okay.
evening
So
to
then,
you.
okay. Good evening. Good evening.
Please, is there any thing like you might not experience all that you have said, but a child may grow up to be a year, thing of that sort starts. Is there anything like that?
Well, there are signs. The signs are always there, but just that we normally don't pay attention. You know, we are of the notion that, oh, leave the child, is a child, they'll outgrow it. Like a child who cries quite often. Some parents even end up beating them up. Yes, but then it could be because of that. But lack of knowledge, then they will just have the notion that with time, the child will just grow out of it. There are always signs.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Let me see if I can add one more to it. You, I think by age 1, we expect that the child will point or bubble, make some baby sounds. Yes. So it's expected that the child does all that or points to an object, or when given an object, they try to pass it from one hand to the other. Yes. So all those signs are there. If your child is not doing that, but then we don't pay attention. Yeah. Even facial expressions like smiling, frowning, and all. Yeah. Thank you. Any more questions, please, before I move on? Okay. So we are going to look at the causes and risk factors of autism. Because as of now, exact cause is unknown. We will not be able to pinpoint and tell that, oh, if it's malaria, then you were bitten by a mosquito and then it transferred to you. Autism, there's no known cause, but then there are scientists have suggested some factors that could contribute to that. So we said it's a mix of genetics and then the environmental factors. So when you take genetic factors, autism can run in a family that the genes are passed on from parents to their kids. And also during pregnancy, you know, as genes are passed on, there could be changes. They mutate. They change in the system. So, and all these are also affecting how the brain develops. So if it does not change in the proper way, then it can result in autism. Okay, then we can go to the environmental factors. We can talk about the mother's health during pregnancy. Gestational diabetes, for instance, is said to be some of the factors that can contribute. It does not give autism, but then it can contribute to autism, the autism disorder in children. And then we can talk of exposure to pollution or chemicals. If a pregnant woman smokes, drinks alcohol, or is exposed to toxins in the environment, it's said that it can contribute to autism disorder in children. And then we can talk about birth complications, such as premature birth or low oxygen at birth, can also contribute. And then we can talk of prenatal age, the age of the parents, the father and the mother. If they are too old, it can also be a contributing factor. And all these that I've mentioned are contributing factors, but not the actual causes. Okay. Any questions answered here?
Okay, so please, we had we had Madame Benedicta Dingula's hand up earlier, and then also there was another hand up. Madam Councillor Benedicta,
Okay.
please ask your question. I was having a bit of challenges, so I couldn't mention you too.
Yeah. Good evening to everybody.
Good evening.
I missed the first session of the class. I wanted to ask that I saw that on the chat we have slow speech. That could be one of the signs. Now, if the child cannot speak till the age of 4, how then can we assess that this child has autism? Thank you.
Well, okay. When it comes to speech delay and then the autism, I explained earlier, and then I made mention that if a child has speech delay, they normally have the social skills. They have at least a few words to help them around, like no, those little words, not non-verbal at all. But then when you take the autistic child, they are non-verbal, although we can have some who are verbal, but then they lack social skills. They don't know how to interact with people. So if the child at 4 is able to interact with people and it's just the words, then fine. And we also said that autistic children normally repeat. They have echolalia. We call it echolalia. They repeat whatever that you say. So what is your name? They will also say, what is your name? How are you? They will say, how are you? Come. It's come. Yes. So can I get more information on that child aside just the speech? Hello, madam.
Hello. Was it a question that you need more information about that child?
Yes. Aside just the speech, what else have you observed?
So far, that's all.
That's all.
She's very sociable. It's a friend's child I'm talking about. She's very sociable.
That's fine. You don't need to mention names, so it's fine.
Very sociable.
Very sociable.
Friendly. Just that
she has eye contact.
Yes, she has eye contact. When you ask her, how are you? She can only say good, and
Okay,
that's all.
that's
When she's
all.
hungry, she can't even say she's hungry. She only have to point at what she wants to eat,
Okay.
and she cries a lot. That's all I know.
Okay, so I'll take you back a little bit to some of the signs, okay?
Okay.
I'm sure our other panel members will pardon us. So we said that some of the signs is that they have difficulties in changing routine. Yes, and then the eye contact as well. There's poor eye contact. They have difficulties in making friends, and then they have inappropriate laughing or crying. You know, there are some unusual form of cry, some unusual form of laugh, some spin, some flap their hands, and then rocking. Those are some of the signs that you could help you tell that a child is autistic. So aside that, maybe our advice you go to the pedics for assessment. You advise your friend to do that. Because that all thing they can help with the speech. If it's just the speech, they recommend a speech therapist for her and then help her overcome that.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Oh. Okay. So can we move on? No questions on the causes and factors. Can we move on? So we are looking at myths and facts about autism. Well, when you take the myth, it's some is of the saying that autism only affects young boys. But then the fact is that it can affect anybody, any gender, since it's a neurodevelopmental disorder. It affects the brain and its function. So it can affect just any other person, not just boys. And then some also say that autism is caused by vaccines or bad parenting. So you see an autistic child have a meltdown and then they are blaming the parents for parenting very bad or being too lenient. And they suspected that this child is put to the right spot or beaten up to, but then it's not like that. And then we can talk about autism is a new thing that didn't exist back there. The fact is that it has always existed. More people are diagnosed as autistic as our understanding of autism increases. Even adults that are up and about, if you are able to get the time to get diagnosed, you might because when after washing and he's hanging his clothes and he would want to hang the white and then pick the same colored text. If it's blue, it has to be the blue lined up. If it's red, it has to be red lined up. You can't mix. So some adults will have these disorders as well, just that they've not been diagnosed. Okay. Any other questions or any other myths that you know or you heard about it? Okay, let me add the next two. It says autistic people don't feel empathy. But then the fact is that they are capable of empathy, just that they display it in a different way. Display it in a different way, not like everybody else, but then they have their own way of expressing their emotions. I have one student that would come and hug you so tight around your neck if it's been 2 or 3 days that she's seen you. Yeah. And then we can say another myth is that autism can be cured. And the fact is, it cannot be cured. It is part of one's identity. So we can only manage it and help overcome challenges in it. Any questions, please? Okay, so then we are moving on if there are no questions. So with reference to autism,